Hi everyone, good morning, good evening to all. Okay, so meanwhile people are getting joined, what we'll do is, Swati, you have some doubts, something, right? So we'll see.
Uh,
You can go ahead.
yeah, Sunil. I have implemented what you said yesterday about rejecting the null values.
Online lab 3. Okay, let me see if we can
Yeah.
check it quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, which where you have implemented?
In lab 3,
In lab 3, which folder? Oh, you cannot see.
um,
Okay, I'm sharing.
in
Okay,
yeah,
I've shared my
in
screen.
cleanse functions. Yeah. Okay.
Which one? Which folder? Which folder?
Here C underscore PS underscore cleanse party.
Okay, what is the name of your
G underscore reject nulls.
diagnosis? Okay, so let me quickly check it. What's the problem?
Okay.
So is string null, that's fine. Null, not null.
Mhm.
So this is also fine. So did you check the output of this?
Yes, when I am trying to test by giving not null value, it is rejecting.
No, no, no. First of all, I told you to go step by step. So did you check it step by step? Did you test this component? This component first?
No.
No, first. That's what I told you yesterday, that you go step by step. Anyway, I mean, you go
Okay.
step by step. I can identify what's the problem, but I'm telling you how you
Okay.
should go. So what you should have done is, you directly connect
Mm-hmm.
this to here and then check what is coming and then go with this. Okay,
Okay.
but you do that later. But what I'll do is, I'll
Oh.
make it now. Okay, null, not null.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is fine, right?
Yeah.
What is the problem? Sunil, it is rejecting, so it is going reverse.
Right. No, if you give null also, it is getting reject.
For everything it is rejecting.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, okay. Can you see here what you have written? You have written not space null here. Here you have written not
Mm-hmm.
space is not there. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see that.
That is why the problem is happening.
Oh.
Okay. You say not space null. Now it should work properly. But
Okay.
there's another thing that it's good that came up. I'll tell you. You need
Mm-hmm.
to make it default, because there are only two ports now, so it really does not matter which one is default. But if there are more than one condition, then you should make it default. Now this should work. Okay, so anyway, the output is not coming because you have not
Mm.
connected, so you can directly, you don't need to connect this. You can directly connect this to this, because the output of this is,
But if we connect,
yeah, if you
yeah, if we
connect.
connect from condition to output also, it should come the same, right? The result should be same.
No, no, no. What is this port? What does it contain? what
Output,
what is what does this contain? What does it contain? In this case, it contains the reject
it's
output.
null.
Yeah, so
Right, right.
there's no point in connecting the output of this. This is all this we are doing is just a check we are doing to find out um,
Whether it is null or
null,
not
null
null.
or not null. Okay, so that's why I am not doing it. So save it.
Okay.
I'm planning to restart the server every day, but I'm not, because someone is connected at least, then I'm unable to restart. So I'll restart it today. So now it is coming fine, and if I make it null, then it's rejecting. So that is fine. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Another thing I wanted to tell you here is, you can see
Mm-hmm.
the asterisk here. Asterisk means default.
Right.
So what you do
Okay.
here, it's only two things, so it doesn't matter which one is default or not. But if there are more than two, then you would like to make something as default. Okay, so if you want to make this as default, then you click on this, so this becomes the default.
Okay.
Default
So
means,
what is the difference between, yeah, what is default?
if let's say if it is null, not null. Okay, let's say if it is, total number of values could be a, B, C, D. Okay, you create only two things here, A or B. Okay,
Right.
what if it is C and D? You understand, right?
But there will be only two options, right? Either null or not null. What will be
No,
the
no.
default value?
I'm
Like,
saying here
for example.
I add one more thing. Here in this example, that's what I'm telling. Here in this example, it's not relevant. Let's take a case of gender, male,
Okay.
uh, female, unknown. Let's say three genders we have. Okay, so I create a group for
Okay.
male and I create a group for female, and if it is anything else that is coming from that, then you make the unknown as the
Default.
default. So that is where default
Okay.
is used. Here it is meaningless because either it will
Right.
be null or not null, so it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, I'm just telling you the concept.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, I think now what?
Sunil,
Yeah, yeah, Murli.
the server is very slow. It's,
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
we are not able to edit anything and we have to wait for a couple of minutes by the time it saves or something.
No, it should not be that slow because actually even I am accessing this from a remote machine. This is not installed in the machine where I'm training. This I'm installing, accessing from a separate machine. It is slow, that I agree, but it should not be that slow as what you're meant. It probably will be a problem from your desktop or some other problem because it is slow. That is correct because I have to rebounce the server once, and that will resolve the issue. But it should
Yeah,
not be
why
that.
don't you do that?
Yeah, I'll do it today. Actually, people are
Okay.
connected every time. At least someone is connected. Some people are connected, and if I rebounce, then it will have some impact. That's why I'm not rebouncing. But today I'll
So why
rebounce.
don't you give, you can't give an alert stating that you're bouncing?
Actually, the thing is, the server will take 15-20 minutes. It takes to be up again. So that's the problem with this service. It takes around 15-20 minutes. But anyway, I have to do that because even my training classes are becoming slow because of this. So I have to do it anyway.
Okay.
But it should not be that slow as you are saying. It probably there is some problem from in your machine. We have to check that. Okay, so this is done. I hope you have.
Actually, so quick question on the what do you call translation using cleanse list to translate.
Mhm.
So there you are saying that 01 for active means the data that is coming is 01 or active?
01. It can come as 01. It can come as active. It can come as 02 or inactive. All of these four you have to accept it. Just the
Oh,
thing is, if it is 01, you need to translate it. If it is already coming as active, just accept it. Don't need to translate it.
no, no, no. So the way you given the logic is it says translate active into 01.
Yeah, yeah. I understood this requirement. I mean, this 100% it's not foolproof. I mean, there is you should also it should be mentioned completely that
Yeah, I mean that's I
01
had a
could be active,
confusion.
but you
So
always
the
need.
output you wanted is 01 or active. It should be 01 the way you are represented
I said 01. Okay, okay.
for active.
I said cleanse list. Okay, translate. I'll say it clearly. Otherwise, translate
0
01
to active. Yeah.
0 to 2 inactive. And if it is already active, then don't need to translate that. I mean, keep as it.
Yeah.
That's simple thing. So this is easy. Now I'll quickly go through this. What is I'll just tell you because you can do that, so I'm not going through it. I'll tell you the thing that you will not be able to do. So I'll go one by one. These three things are there is nothing much. Okay, so you can easily do that. Just all you need to do is trim and you need to put it. So that's easy. Address name. Now address name is something where we are having some cleansing. Let's see what it is. The cleansing is
So
remove.
can you fix this account versus party ID because it's totally confusing. We are following the party, I
No, no,
guess.
no. You wherever it is account, you say party ID.
Okay.
In other class, I'm giving this account, so that is why there's a confusion. This is party ID. Account ID is an old-based model. I mean, it's a bit old because now if you work normally 99 percentage. the model will be party model. So that's why I'm directly going through the party model. Whereas if you see here, I have shared you this lab guide. In the lab guide, if you see, sorry, not this.
Yeah, I saw that. So basically, that is purely based on party, customer, and address.
Yeah, that's based on customer, and that's a customer data model.
But here again, see, we need to create multiple stage tables now based on the 6 sources or 8 sources they are given, of which 2 are one is a lookup, one is a reference.
Yeah,
The rest are 6 are for different data sources.
data sources, correct.
So we need to create 6 staging tables
Correct.
for
Yeah,
party, address, and contact, I guess.
correct. Six staging table for all.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to follow this
So
data
just to
model
create
also,
that,
see if you want to
yeah,
follow this model also, this is the same. This is a customer based model, and that is a party based model. So, but please refer a
yes,
party
one
based.
and the same is the customer or party represent
It's
like
the
the
same, but
same.
nowadays everyone uses the term party, not, I mean, customer for party. They do not use customer table, they use party table to store the customer. So if you
Okay.
directly refer to as party, that will help you in, I mean, term, I mean, like in verbal term wise also it will help you.
So yeah, one quick question on the staging table, just in case if I miss a column in the stage table to add a column,
Mhm. You can
how would I do that?
later also you can go ahead and you can do it at any point of time.
Oh, I'm not getting the option. I went to the schema and then went to the stage table and right click, nothing is coming. Or go to the columns and trying to add, I am not getting the option of a plus or minus sign there.
No, there's no plus or minus sign. I'll show you. I have done it. It should come. You need to go here.
Okay.
It's already selected. So let's say if you do not select it, yeah, you can unselect this. You can check this also. You have to double click twice. So you can select and unselect here. There is no plus minus symbol as such. Just you have to
Okay.
click on this.
So this stage table should be based on the landing table then.
Not necessarily. Stage table is based on the base object. But
But based on, let's suppose the party ID, the source system ID coming for the party, whatever it is from the landing table,
mhm,
based on the base object, I don't have the party ID in the base object.
correct.
I have to use a row object ID only.
Yeah, party ID is not stored in the base object. It is stored in the base object cross reference. That is in the party cross reference. It is stored. This party ID. But
Yeah, I
for
mean at that point I need to add in the stage table, no?
yeah, you need to add this party ID. Party ID we do not store. I mean, in this architecture, the party ID is not stored at all for the parent. You can see party ID here
So,
is not stored. Here party ID is there, but here for parent you do not need to store party ID. But this party ID will be stored in the cross reference table. That is underscore xref.
so if you see PKS SRC object, you set primary key from the source.
Yeah,
That is nothing but the party ID from the landing table.
from the landing table, and this PKSRC object will be stored in the cross reference.
So you don't need to add that column
Which
in
column?
the stage, in the, yeah, the same PK source.
No, no, I will directly map this party ID to this PKSRC object.
Yeah, if I base on the stage table to create on the base object, I don't have that column, no?
Which column?
The PK source object.
PKSRC object will is a mandatory column for a staging table. That is a
Yeah,
physical
so
column.
let's suppose while creating the stage table, I selected the columns based on the base object.
Correct. Yeah.
So I had to go back and add that column, no?
You see, first of all, you cannot add any staging columns. You can only these columns that you're seeing here are from the base object. Whatever is there in the base object, only those columns you can specify here in the staging table.
Yeah, I mean, based on the spreadsheet, what you're showing,
Yeah.
that PK primary key is not there in the base object. How did I select that?
That's what
That one.
Yeah, you see the document here, what it is saying. PK's SRC object should be mapped as a party ID from the landing table. In the
Yeah,
land,
while creating the table, I don't have the option of adding that column now, if I base on base object.
you're saying this party ID, this party ID should be there in the landing table. Okay, it's not necessary in the staging table and in the base object.
Not sure if you are
Okay.
getting my point.
No, no, once I proceed, then you will understand probably. See, this is
Okay.
simple thing only. I mean, the party ID. See, I told you clearly that the landing table structure I have made this similar to the staging and base object. But technically, landing table can be completely different structure to that of a staging and
Yeah, but in the landing table I might be having 100 columns,
yeah. That is why we
but
use a
in this,
mapping to map it. We use a mapping, but this is an auto mapping from staging table to base object. You do not. Why Informatica does not provide any mapping option? Because it's auto mapping. Automatically, it knows that the name here is same as the name here. So you have no option of creating a mapping. It's auto mapping. It's already done internally. So that's why we do not create any mapping
Actually,
for staging to.
what Venkat is saying is, so we are going to create a mapping for landing to staging for party, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So in that, stage party has a primary key, source primary key, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. What do I map from landing party table to that column is what I think his question is.
Yeah. That is
no,
what.
no, no, not that question. That is not the thing. We can map party ID to that primary key SRC object, but while creating the staging table itself, you're saying you're selecting all the columns from the base object.
Correct.
Okay, so at that point I don't have the option of this primary key column to select. Where will I get that column? Unless I add manually.
No, no, no. This is a system generated column. You do not have to create it. It is automatically there.
Okay.
That's what I'm
System
telling you.
generated. Okay,
You
okay. I
see,
got it.
you see this mapping. This is not the only one. There are many system generated columns that are there. Okay, so see this
Yeah,
mapping.
yeah, I got it. So automatically the system is generating that, and that we have to map to that landing table.
This is a system generated. This is a system generated. All these are system generated except name, alias, status, account type. These are the four columns. Apart from that, everything is system generated. You do not have to map
That
them.
PK SRC object is system column. Okay.
System column, but you must map it. If you do not map it, it will throw you'll get an error.
Got it.
Okay. So now we'll move ahead quickly to the mapping sheet. I'll go one by one. This party ID is just the same as this logic. So you just need to trim and put it. So that's easy. I'm not doing it. Now this coming to the address name, remove noise, but don't remove digits because you know, right, in ADDR name is the full address. So ADDR name will contain house numbers and it might contain minus, dash, slash, those kind of characters it can contain. Okay, so I cannot remove the digits, as well as there are certain characters that I should not remove. For example, characters like minus or slash, depends upon country to country. I should not remove this kind of characters. So this is a modified version of this. Okay, this is a modified version of this. Otherwise, what you can do, you can remove the regular expression for digits that we created in this here and use it here, or else you can also use Informatica standard noise function. But I suggest you to create your own function so that you can learn. Otherwise, you can also use this already created thing, but you can create this cleanse function within less than 1 minute, I think. So that's better if you create it. Okay, so it's the same thing. So I'm not doing it. Reject if address name is null. This is same as this logic, so I'm not doing it. So you implement this logic, and these are all one-to-one mapping, so you just need to connect it. Okay, now that's easy. One-to-one means just drag and drop. Now coming to the country. Country is country from the landing table, validate against the cleanse list. This is the requirement. Reject if it's not in the valid list. I'm not given a valid list here, but that is up to you. For For example, let's say if you want to do business only with India, US, UK, China, France. Okay, let's say if you decide to store only these 5 countries, and if you're getting data related to, let's say uh, Germany, then you are supposed to reject this. Thing. Reject if it is not in the valid list. So how do I do that? This is a very simple thing. Okay, this is same as this logic. I'll quickly do it. Party cleanse. So step by step. First of all, before I do it, how do I do it? Go step by step. First, first thing is,
I
yeah,
think Sunil, in the first place itself, we can filter it out while loading into the landing table itself, no?
no, but I want to store it in the reject table. That's correct. I can also do that way, but I want to store it in the reject table.
So why do you want to have the processing unnecessary?
No, but I want to store it in the reject table for future use.
Okay.
That is the thing. I mean, I want it in the reject table. I want to see all those things in it for a reason, and then later at some point of time I might accept those kind of German people. So that is the reason why I might go for it. And someone said that there is a geographical function called as countries. Can I use it? Yes, you can also use it. This is similar, but directly we cannot use it. You have to modify it because the input and output is slightly different. But this will take just less than a minute. Okay, to create one. First, create a cleanse list. So CL, um, translate, or not exactly translate, more better to say validate country. What I'll do is, if it is coming in any of this list, then that's valid, and if it is anything apart from that, let's say anything apart, say anything, there are many countries, so I'm confused which country to take, because this might become an issue why I took Germany. I just took it as an example. Okay, there's nothing much than that. So India, I'll quickly, I'm doing it because it's very easy. USA, and China, okay, one is UK. Okay, so we are almost done. So this is our cleanse list. So quickly test it. You already know the result, but to be on the safe side, just test it. So India, I'm not testing the remaining, but because I'm sure this will come. So if I say UK also, this will come. Okay, so you can see that match flag is coming as true, but let's say if I make it Nepal, something like this, then the match flag is false. So what do I need to do now? Create the cleanse list. If true, no action. If false, reject. Okay, so this is a simple functionality. So you just create a graph function over that, g underscore validate country. See, that's what now will come to the point, that this geographic functions that is provided, it's just an example. Okay, you should not use anything in this geographical, because this is related to some project. For example, this cities, your business might not be only in these cities. Okay, so this is basically meaningless. All these geographic functions, you can just simply delete it, but let it be there, but you should not use, there's no point. Noise filters, you can use it, it's pretty good. I mean, it's can be used, but so quickly add that function, uh, cleanse list, party country, extend expanded mode, input. Okay, I don't need to use any of this. You got it, right? I don't need to use any of this. I just need to check the I need to, if it is true, then proceed, no action. If it is false, reject. So what do I need to do? I need to use a Boolean function to convert. I'm quickly doing that because you can easily do it. So if it is true, I think I did it yesterday, right? The similar functionality. So yeah, I remember I think I did it yesterday. Proceed and reject. I created. I don't know where, which one. So this is the same logic. So you create a condition over this and you make it constant. Say proceed and another constant as reject. So if it is true, then proceed. If it is false, then reject. Then add a conditional statement. Okay, stating. See, this is all case sensitive. So whatever you're giving the name here, make sure you give the same name here. Otherwise, this will throw an issue. So reject is where I'll simply add the reject function. So that's easy. I'm quickly doing it. Okay, I'm not going to test it. I leave that to you. So this is almost like done. Okay, so you give a text message. What is the okay? So it's like almost done. So this is done. That's the requirement. You can see it's very easy once you practice a bit, then it's very easy. Quickly test it. India. If I say Nepal, it should reject. Okay, so this is working properly. Okay, so you use this function in the mapping. So this is easy. Now coming to the last requirement, you complete the mapping. Okay, that I leave it to you as an exercise because I'm supposed to cover important topics. There's no point in repeatedly saying the same thing because I already did this. There's no point in again implementing this because I already did that. So now postcode. Postcode from landing address it is coming, but use postcode from the what we need to do is the thing here is the postcode is there in a separate table. Okay, there's a separate table that contains all the postcodes. Okay, now you have to validate that against your database. Okay, against this data. For example, let's say it's a very simple thing. Sunil is a customer you're getting from CCAR source system, and let's say Sunil has a pin code or postcode. Pin code, postcode, zip code, all are same thing. Okay, in many different countries, the name is different, but it's the same thing. So let's say this is the code, postcode for Sunil. How do I validate if this code is correct or it's not correct? There are many ways. You can use an address doctor, or if you want to do it manually, then you have to use the logic of lookup, that is using read database function. Okay, this is an important function. Although from performance point of view, even though it's not good, sometimes it becomes mandatory for you to use it. So we'll go through it quickly. What we'll do is we'll first of all create this postcode table. We'll quickly create this postcode table. ORS online 3. I'm creating this as a very simple table, and create table postcode. Okay, you can see there are many ways of doing it. Either you can do it directly the way I'm doing it here, doing it here, or it's better to create this postcode as a base object. Okay, but if I do it in that way, I have to do a lot of other things. I mean, I have to do I have to create the staging tables, the landing tables. I don't have time for that. But what you do is, when you are creating a postcode table, you create it as a base object. Okay, so that's an exercise for you. So postcode, say postcode varchar, then it's simple. What I'll take is area. So I'm taking a generic term, area. Area means area in India. I'll take this example in India. So area varchar 220. Okay, quickly created that. Now I'll insert some values into that. So do not get confused. This is a postcode table and this is a postcode column. Okay, so don't get confused. Otherwise, we'll do one thing. I'll change this name to pin code. I'm sure you will get confused. Not here, but when I use a lookup, you will definitely get confused. So I'm changing the column. It's better. Okay, now insert into postcode. Going to give values. Let's say 81. Then let's say the area in India. It's actually Madhapur. So I'll just insert 2 rows, not more than that. What you do is, as an exercise, you make it more big and you give more values. Okay, that you do it. Okay, so this is 2 areas and this is the pin code, for valid pin code for that. So one by one. So now just comment it, and I'll quickly check what we have inserted.
Sunil, like if we are creating as a base table, like then how are we going to insert it? Do we need to
You have to use
do
the
it via
landing table. Yeah, landing table, the normal way how we are doing the party load, right? Same thing we have to do. The only thing is that for party you have 7-8 sources, but for this table you will have only one source. That is, I have already
Okay.
mentioned this here. The source will be lookup for this. Okay, for all the things like that. For example, gender, country, address type, postcode, all this kind of static lookup information, it will come from only one source. Okay, so it will not come from 1,000 different sources. That's the only difference. Okay, and if you remember, I told you an option about preserve source system keys. So you can use actually preserve source system keys for systems like this, not for anything else. So this is the data. That's what it looks like. Now first of all, I'll demonstrate this read database, how this works. You see carefully, otherwise you'll get confused. Directly we'll go it here and we'll test it. Instead of explaining theoretically, I'll go it here and I'll tell you. Look up table name. Table name is normally, what is the table name? The table name is postcode. That is what we just created. Now look up column name. The column on which I'm trying to look up, that is zip code. Okay, look up data. Remember, look up data.
That should be pin code. No?
Pin code, right?
Yeah, that's pin code, but here I'll provide a value, but normally it would be passed from the
Column name is pin code, I guess, right?
pin code.
You
But
need to give pin code as the lookup column.
correct.
You
Oh,
created as pin
sorry,
code.
pin code I created. Okay, I need to give pin code here, and remember this value which I'm going to specify now here, but normally this will be passed from the source. You understand, right? This value you do not pass it from the source. You need to hard code it, add a constant. But this value you must pass it from the source because we are testing it. So I am showing it here now. When I use it in the mapping, then I need to pass it. And return column is I can get the return column as area, or also if I just want to validate, I can use the same return column as well. Let me take area so that you are not confused and test it. So you see, can you see this is working properly? Okay, this is the cache option. You no need to configure that. You can see the cache default, it is false. If you want, you can cache, but you should never cache it. From performance point of view, if you're sure that the table does not change, you might want to do that, but no need to concentrate on that. So you can see it's a very easy thing. This is the table name, this is the column that you're looking up, this is the written column that you're getting, and the important thing is record found flag that is coming as true. So if I give as let's say anything else, the record found flag is coming as false. Okay, so I hope you understand this quick demonstration of the read database, how it works. Now we'll use this read database in the to implement this functionality. Okay, so to do that, first of all, let me create a mapping for address from landing address. Okay, I can still see that you have not created any staging table, so I asked you to create staging table. You create the staging table for this address. Okay, there is one staging table, but the name is, I told you, right, you should always use proper naming convention. See, because if I look at this table CADDR CKR, I don't have any clue if it's a staging table, landing table, or it looks like moreover like a base object. Okay, but it's not a base object, it's a staging table. So this is wrong. Okay, so I'm dropping this table. Whenever you create a table, you always remove it. The more you use the proper conventions and the proper standards, you will be more successful. Not just you, your MDM will be more successful. Okay, it will be quite organized and it will be quite good. But if you, the naming convention, everything, if you give it as you like, I mean just like that, then there will be problem. So STG ADDR, then we'll create it for CKR.
Sunil, at any point of time we can connect to only one ORS, or can we have multiple sessions?
Multiple session means if I connect here, then that is disconnected. Other ORS. If I disconnect that ORS, so whichever ORS I come in, that is connected. And you would also observe that the lock is also lost. If you observe, you'll see that the lock is also lost. For example, if I take a write log here and if I change the ORS, that lock will be gone. So if you want to work, you can open multiple tools, multiple instances, and you can use multiple ORS. That's how you can open more than one instance. But by default, if you log out, if you change the ORS, Informatica kicks you off. That is, it literally logs.
Yeah, I mean it makes one session only active at any point of time.
Correct. Yeah, that's the default that they have.
Yeah. So to get on to online lab 3 from here, what is that I have to do?
You can open another instance if you want to keep
Of MDM?
Yeah, both open. Then you can open another instance. For example, I just open another instance. You can open 1,000 instances.
When I tried, they didn't allow me to do that.
No, see, first of all, just understand that whatever I'm doing right now in front of you, you should be able to do all of it, because this server is not in my machine. It's in different physical location. Okay, so even the way you are accessing it from US, the same way I'm accessing it here also. So the speed, everything, if it is slow for me, probably it will be slow for you. If it is fast for me, it should also be fast for you.
I tried the T1 connection, even then it is slow.
You can see here, this is the online line 3 and this is the online lab. So you can open any number of instances that you want. Okay. So, and there's a question, can't we rename the file names? I don't see any file name here. I think if you're referring to the file name from the source, then that will be handled in the ETL. You do not need to worry about that. So because here we do not have any files as such. Here we only talk about databases. Okay, now let me quickly create a mapping. So M, you do not need to give the staging name because mapping means staging name. So that's already understood. No need to STG. You create the remaining staging table and source systems here. Someone do it here. Otherwise, I can also do it, but I want you to do it as an exercise because I do not like.
We are doing in the lab only, no?
Yeah, you're doing in the lab, but someone do it in here as well. Like create the staging tables. All
Okay.
do not need to do. Someone do it.
So one more thing, in this mapping, it is kind of zigzag. Is there any way to organize it in a
No,
systematic way,
no. I think
like in Power Center?
no. It's not there. Even I feel irritated sometimes because you have to manually like drag and put.
Yeah, drag everything or organize it.
Yeah, because even I have worked with Power Center for many years, so even I do not like this. But I told you, right, this is not an exclusive cleansing utility. This is just basic features are provided, and even these basic features are also enough for small implementations. For especially the cleanse list, if you know the use of cleanse list properly, then you can do a lot of things using the cleanse list. Cleanse list can be used for standardization and cleansing, enrichment, all kind of things it can be used for. So what I'll do now quickly, I'll use simply auto mapping as of now. Auto mapping means automatically the names, because you see the state name here is same as the state name here. So automatically they'll be connected. This should be connected. Okay, so automatically they are connected. I'm not, these transformations, I'm not doing that now. You do that, especially this transformation, trim and all that. You do it. I'll just demonstrate this one because this is slightly complicated, so I'll demonstrate that. But remember the parameters that we passed. Okay, so I'm going to call the postcode. I'm just going to remove this here, and now I'm going to call the read database function, read database, and say expanded mode. Remember what did we pass? What did I tell you about table name? What is the table name? Table name is postcode. You need to hard code it. So I'm hard coding that. Connect it. Lookup column. The lookup column is pin code, right? Add constant pin code. So you connect it to the column. Now data. Where do I get the data? In the example, I had just given 500081, but normally this should be passed from the source. So I need to connect this. Okay, and the return column I need to hard code because that's the, I just need to hard code it. So add a constant, and return column is area. You can also take the return column as pin code because I want this just to validate. Okay, I don't want to get any value. That's not my objective. I just want to validate it. So it doesn't, you should take a unique not null value. If area is not null, you take it. Otherwise pin code itself should be not null. So it's better if you take pin code, but because you'll get confused, that's why I'm taking area now. Return column. Now what I need to do, I just need to check this flag. Okay, so if this flag is coming as true, it means the customer is valid, the postcode is valid. If it is coming as false, then it is invalid. So what I'm doing is I'm not building the remaining code because already I did it many times. What I did is, what you need to do is just you need to convert this from Boolean. You connect this and convert this Boolean, what is valid and invalid. That's it. Valid. So if it is true, that's valid. If it is
Yes.
sorry,
Sunil, I mean, where are you calling that function which you created? I mean, lookup graph function.
this is
Where are
I'm directly calling it here.
Okay.
This is the lookup. It's the name is not lookup. Okay, the name is read database. The functionality is similar to that of a ETL lookup. Okay, the name is different, but it is the lookup functionality. Okay, now what do I need to do here? I need to add a condition. If valid, then do this, and that is don't do anything. If invalid, then reject it. I'm not going to do that because you can do it. I'll simply check the response what I'm getting. Okay, I'll simply check the response and see this is not correct because you need to add a condition and then you need to connect the postcode directly to this or accordingly you do it. Okay, you can either return column or those kind of things you can use it, but I'm just doing it to show you the functionality if it is working or not. Now in the postcode we'll get valid invalid, but normally if it is valid then you should get the postcode there. If it is invalid it should be rejected. So what I'll do is but the problem is okay, test it. So this is coming as valid and give anything else that's coming as invalid. So this logic is working fine. You just add a, that's an assignment for you. You add a condition and you complete this requirement. Yeah, this is even not that advanced. Like there is another question, where do you give lookup connection if the table is in another database? The first thing is you cannot this is not like a power center where you can create a connection variable and you can give that. But yes, it's a valid question. The thing is, let's say there is an Oracle database called as DB1, DB1. Okay, and there is another Oracle database called as DB2. Okay, this looks like DB1, DB2. Moreover, this is like IBM DB1. So what I'll do, say, let's say A, and this is called as B. Okay, now you have Informatica MDM installed in here. Okay, in here Informatica MDM is installed, so you can see the table by default. The table that it accesses only the table that is there in this ORS. That's the limitation. Okay, you can see the table that I created here. What is the table I created? Postcode. Where did I create it? I created in online ORS 1. If I create it in some other database, then it will not be able to access because there is no other mechanism to do that. But yes, there is a solution. If you want to create a table here, postcode table, and you want to access this table over here, then what is the method? The method is you create a database link. Okay, you create a database link and point that object to
That is another
database.
performance.
Yeah, but that's the limitation that you have. If you want to use it that way, normally that's not needed, but I think that was a question and I just said how we can tackle
So
it.
rather doing that, we can directly create a base object and import from that
Yeah, that's
database to
that's,
this.
that's what I said, right? Normally this is not needed because that is how we will do it. Normally you need to create a base object and you need to do that. But let's say, I mean, if you get a situation there where you want to implement it that way, I mean, let's say you want to access a other database, then you have to do it using this way.
Is custom query anything that could be used, Sunil, here in MDM queries, right? Is that something that we can use?
Custom.
It doesn't matter actually. The way you said, we can create a view or something, and we'll be done with it. But I just wondering.
See, it's creating database link is very easy. I mean, see, there's an employee table that is there in here. You create a database link here, and that points to here. And then instead of using the table directly, you will say employee at the rate of database B, and you can
Okay,
create
let me put
a
it.
synonym. You can create a synonym as EMP
Yeah,
that points to this. So that's easy.
yeah,
That's the
right. That's
DBS
that's
job.
what. Right, right. That's not the point. Let me ask you this way. So we have a complicated join, okay,
Correct.
and we want to leverage that view. I can always create a view and use it, but is we have queries and whatnot in MDM, right? Can we use it? It's just by curiosity. This we can always do whatever we want in the database. That's agree.
Correct.
can we use the queries? We have queries and stuff in MDM, right?
MDM,
Packages and queries.
query, yeah.
Can we use those as objects is basically what I'm asking.
Can you use queries in here in this cleanse function if you're asking?
Yeah, queries and
For
objects,
the
right?
lookup. For the lookup.
Lookup,
Right.
no. Lookup you cannot use queries. But what you can do is
Because queries are
you can create views and you can use it in that way. But directly you cannot use it.
Right. Right. We have plan B and C. Yeah. Thanks, Sumit. Yeah.
Yeah. How to use multiple lookup condition? Multiple lookup condition means that's the same thing, right? You just give the multiple condition. You can give up to 3 conditions. I've just given one lookup input. If you want to use more than one, then you connect this. I've just left this blank. You connect this, and the return column is also up to 5. You can get it. Why 5? That's the limitation. I mean, I I
so
told you this.
only
This is not an exhaustive.
lookup data is only 3 columns maximum.
Yeah, maximum the 3 lookups you can 3 column you can
Conditions.
condition. This will be an AND condition, okay, not OR. This will be an AND by default.
Okay.
So this completes this address requirement. Okay, now we'll move on to the contact one. This is easy, so I'm not going through that. Yeah, this is even easy, but did you try to understand how can you implement this? Like name, what is the requirement? The extract initials from the name. How do you extract initials from a name? There are thousand ways of doing it.
Substring. Using substring.
Substring, okay, I'll just first of all let me write it here. Say Sunil Kumar Mohanty. Then how can we do that? If you're talking about substring, we also need an INSTR. Here you do not have any
String.
INSTR.
Yeah,
INSTR.
substring and string.
Yeah, but here you do not have INSTR. But anyway, using a substring, that's one option that you can do it in the database. But here you will not be able to do that because you don't have an INSTR, something like that. So there are thousand ways in which you can do. If you can explore later in Google also, you will get thousand ways. But we will use we'll do it in the MDM style. The MDM style, what we'll do is we'll use very simple logic. We'll convert this to title case. First is title case. Okay, so if I make this title case, what will happen? Sunil Kumar Mohanty. This is what will happen. Then what I'll do is I will use a regex to replace small alphabets with null, or you can say blank. If I do that, this will be replaced, this will be replaced, and this will be replaced. Okay, so that's how I need to do. And how do I need to do? First I title case it, and second I use a regular expression. Okay, so regular expression in where? In a cleansed list. Okay, so first title case is easy, but first of all let's create the cleansed list. Quickly I'll do it because it's very easy. I am sure you can understand. So say cleanse list CL. What is the best name? The best name is to extract initials from name. CL initials. So that's the simple name. Whatever things I'm doing, see, you make sure that you complete this at least over the weekend. If some of I know some people do not have that much time, but you make sure that you complete all of this before the weekend. Otherwise we are going to move ahead to the matching. We'll not be touching these components anymore. So if you do not practice, then probably you are going to forget, because see, this is a tool. Okay, I mean, see, for example, this is a tool. Everything that you see, this is a tool. So everything is a tool. If you do not practice the tool, you will forget. Okay, so that's the principle of this tool. If you go on vacation for, let's say, 15 days, and after that if you come back, you will see that this would look strange. What is this option? What is this button? So you practice to make sure that you learn. So quickly, I assume that first of all title case I have done it. Now what I need to do is I just need to replace the small with blank, and it's a regular expression. So that's simple, and quickly you can test it. What is the parameter I need to give? This is not working, right? What do I need to give? What are the parameters I need to do? I need to make this anywhere, but still you can see there are, it's working fine, but there are spaces. If you want to remove that as well, you go here and say spaces. Okay, exact match. Okay, you can see it's not working. So you say why it is not working, because you see this is coming on the top. Okay, so you can see the space is removed here, but the recursive search is not happening. That is, once this is done, this is not going through. So what I need to do, I need to say stop on hit as false. Once I do that, you will see that it will work fine. So this is working fine. Okay, so I'll create a graph function quickly, or I am not going to do that because I think you already understood, right? So you create a graph function. In that graph function, first use title case. Once title case is done, then use this cleanse list. And once you create the graph function, you call this in this mapping. Okay, so that's easy. So I'm skipping that. And this three is already done. Same logic here, so no need to do. But what you can do is you can try to play around this by changing the requirement. For example, here I'm saying that remove noise and digits. Maybe here you might want to allow some other, at least some 1-2 characters you might allow, depending upon names in different countries. So you might want to play around if you have time. Anyway, that's up to you. This is already done. Gender, reject if gender is not between male, female, unknown. This is the same case that we have in here or in here. This is already done here. Okay, this is done in here, sorry, here. Reject if it's not in person or organization. So the same logic what is implemented here, you need to use the same logic here. Okay, and moving to the next, the phone number, validate that the first digit is 7 to 9 and the total length is 10 number. This is the full code. Using, there are two ways you can do it. Using a regular expression function, you can directly do it, or else you can use a cleanse list as well. Two ways you can do it, but it's much better to do it with a cleanse list. It's pretty much simpler. Sorry, not a cleanse list, using a regular expression. Already you have this regular expression here, and yeah, this is already, the logic is there to validate the phone number. Okay, so I think I already told you. So if I give anything like this, it will come as false. Okay, so it must be 10 digit. Okay, this is 10 digit, this is true. If I add one more digit, this is false. So that is the first requirement. And second is the first digit must be between from 7 to 9, that is 7 or 8 or 9. And this is also working fine, because 8 it is working fine, but if I give, let's say, 1, then this is coming as false. So this logic is already there. Now what do you need to do? You just need to call this function. You rename this from test to validate phone number. Okay, that's better. You say r validate phone number. Okay, you use that and you call this function, and based on the output of this, that is, if it is true, phone number is valid. If it is false, then it's invalid. So based on what is written in the document, what is written here, uh, use cleanse list to validate. So here it doesn't talks about rejection. Probably there is no rejection technique here. I mean, rejection is not mentioned, just you need to validate it. Okay, and probably you can send a message or something to either the same table or a different logging table. You can do that, but you, as of now, what you do is, if it is less than, I mean, it's, if it is not validating, then you reject it. Okay. And
I think reject should be there now, so unless who will care about validation.
yeah, that's correct. But sometimes there are three type of things that happen normally in MDM. One is uh, accepted, and second is rejected, and the third actually is warning. Here, Informatica MDM doesn't support this feature much. Warning means, let's say my phone number is invalid. So phone number is not an important field. It's an important field, that's correct, but it's not very important. It is important, but not that much. So what I'm saying is, if phone number is invalid, then still you accept the customer with a warning. Okay, so that's the logic,
So
and
where will that warning be recorded?
that
So who
has to
will
be,
look into that?
yeah, that has to be handled in your what do you say, using user exit concept. You have to do it, because normally that cannot be implemented, but you have to do it using the user exit concept.
So intimation, sending an intimation to the data steward.
You have to create another log table where you have to log all the warnings. Okay,
Oh,
that,
okay.
that has to be done using the user exit, because you can see here either you accept it or reject it. It's not supported. Anything else is not supported here. So you have to extend the functionality of MDM, Informatica MDM, to achieve this functionality. And this one, validation of email, already I have given the logic here. This is a very big logic for regular expression. Okay, you can, otherwise you don't have to copy paste anything. Okay, you just use a logic. What is the logic for phone number validation, sorry, email ID validation? Email ID contains at the rate of, it can contain dot, it can contain underscore, but it can contain any number of dots, any number of this, but only one at the rate of. Okay, so you can use a cleanse function to validate this. Okay, you can use a regular expression also to validate it. Regular expression will be easy if you know regular expression. I've already given the regular expression here. And if you tried both ways, you tried using regular expression as well as using cleanse list. Okay, cleanse list, you can use the technology of replace all occurrences. Okay, so that you can use it parallelly with this to validate the email ID, and validate the date field. Reject if it is null or it's after system date. How do you validate date? Date validation is there in here in the data conversion format date. So converts a date to a string. Sorry, this is about converting, but parse date, this will tell you actually if it is valid or not valid. So you use this parse date to validate a date. Okay, so that's the thing that you'll use it. You try to you try to implement all these requirements, and if you are able to, and try to create new requirements also based on if you have time, and if you feel something interesting, then you post it to others as well. Different requirements, I'll also include that in this, extend this list as well. Okay, so with that we'll complete this cleanse. Remember, we have just tested this function. What did we do in the mapping? What is the mapping here? I created this mapping and this mapping, and we just tested it here. So when I test, what happens? Data is not loaded into the staging table. Okay, testing means I give the input and the output is displayed to the user. Okay, but when I actually run it, that you will learn it in the batch viewer, how to run the mappings. When you run it, you will see that the whatever your testing is, exactly that thing will be taken, the data will be taken from landing, and it will be loaded from the transform data will be loaded into the staging table. This is how you run the jobs, but no need to worry about running. Don't concentrate on running now, because first of all, let's see what are all the concepts that needs to be covered. This this is done. Yeah, now probably we can start loading data from the landing to the staging table, because we are done with most of the concepts. Okay, so before we do that, first of all, I'll give an introduction of batch viewer and batch group. Let me toggle this. Mappings, you already know what are mappings.
Sunil, did you share this spreadsheet?
Spreadsheet, I think I shared. You, if you did not get it, I'll share it again.
Yeah.
I'm just changing the order. Okay. So
Can
now,
you share this once again?
yeah, I'll share it once again with everyone. Okay.
Hey, Sunil, we can go to the drive.google.com and it should be available. It should be shared with everybody, right?
Yeah, the thing here is this, I keep on changing based on batch to batch. So I
Okay.
regularly keep on shuffling the stuff based on the comfort level of people. So if you are more comfortable, then I'll go it in this way. If you are some are not comfortable, for sometimes some classes the queries and packages I cover it here, and in some classes I cover it outside. So that's why I keep on changing every week or every day. So that's why I don't keep means I just change the order. For example, now I just brought this back here at this town. But anyway, the number of topics this will remain the same. Okay, so I'll share this anyway.
So, I have few questions, Sunil. So unless you have a class to catch up.
No. The class is done for 9. I have a class earlier from 7 to 8, and after
Okay.
8, this is the class. Probably we'll move it to half an hour later. We'll see that.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So lookup, we in the initial classes, right? We talk about lookup table, like landing table and uh, days table. We did talk about lookup table, right? So I thought this zip code is something we implement as an
correct,
LU table. Remember,
correct.
what are
LU
LU tables then? What are
LU
LU
ta-
tables?
see LU table and base object, there is no difference. They are the same thing because LU lookup table also has to be created as a base object. The only difference is, first of all, in lookup table, it will be a single source. It will not come from thousand different many different sources. It will only come from a single source, and it will contain the reference data. That's the only difference. Apart from that, in MDM, you will see that both has to be created as base object, and to load the data, you will have to create landing table and the staging tables as well.
Okay. So
And there is one column
how is M?
and
Yeah.
there is
Okay.
one column here in the properties, that lookup indicator. Okay, for lookup table, LU tables, you should always click this on, and it really does not
Okay.
matter if you
So
click this on or not. But in IDD, if this is marked on, uh, IDD will recognize that it's a lookup table, and it can directly use the drop down list.
okay. That's nice. And second one was, I thought I read somewhere that we have parameterizing concept in here, right? But are you going to touch it or is it there?
No,
Sunil,
there's no parameterizing concept.
maybe can we parameterize in queries? I thought I said read somewhere and I was just
No.
googling stuff to
It's
use.
not there in Informatica
But
MDM. Queries and all that you cannot parameterize. There is no concept of parameters, variables anywhere in MDM here. You will not find this concept in any MDM tool, not just in Informatica MDM. See the parameter concept. Why do we get parameters and variable concept? Do you know why is there a concept of parameter and variable? It's basically for reusability. Okay, you want to reuse the same set of component for multiple places. For example, you want to run the same mapping with for 10 different jobs by just changing the parameters. Okay, so that
or we would, yeah,
mappings
or we
and
might want to
parameters
change
normally
the.
come into picture when the situations are complicated, when you have 500, 400,000 mappings. Okay, but here it's very simple. That is the reason why in any MDM tool you will not find you will not see any parameterization concept.
Right, right. I mean, we can also use these parameters to change the flow of logic, right? So, like for say, I can send a parameter and I know what's happening with the source record this time, and I say I'll send a parameter saying that push the trust value to 30 on this load, and I can use that parameter to change. I mean, I'm just thinking,
Yeah, yeah,
I
the
know the
thing.
tool is not designed for it. The tool is not designed
No,
for
no,
it. I get it,
that's what I'm telling
but
you.
we can
It
use,
is
yeah.
it is an option what you're saying, but that will not what you can say improve much in production things. I mean, what you can say. See, people create new components in a tool. Why do they create new components in a tool? Because that is needed by organization. Okay, let's say if Informatica adds a new feature in here, why would Informatica add a new feature? Because they can market it. Okay, that's the main. See, for me and you, it's important what are the features. For Informatica Corporation, it is important that if they are spending money on some creating new feature, they are able to market it. Okay, so but for here, there's no point in marketing parameters and parameters, variables, and all that. So as of now, not there. Probably in future, if it grows in 5-10 years, then probably they will do it. But I don't think they will do it now in at least 3-4 years.
Okay, and I'll have to revert back to the point we talked about the user exits before, right? And
Yeah,
that's more fascinating. And now that you're telling about it, so we have warning, right? But one thing I do not get is, see, so far I understood whatever be the maximum. I keep saying maximum, but MDM base objects are there, right?
correct,
They are all the logic from stage to base is completely handled by Informatica. That's a nice thing, right? But if we are talking about warning, and that table is going to be out of the logic from MDM base object to stage. Agreed?
correct,
So whenever I say it has 11 records, I'm putting in a separate table from a user exit, and that's my own custom table, right? I'm not going to register it with MDM.
correct,
True?
correct.
So this record is going to seep further, and this bad record, say this source is going to have high value and it's going to do some things. So what I'm asking is, if tool doesn't handle it, it doesn't handle it. But since it's providing an option of warning, how is that helping on our consolidation process in the later
No, no, no.
stages?
I did not tell you that it provides an option of warning. Informatica by default does not support the concept of warning. That's what I told you.
Oh, it does
But
not. Okay,
does not.
sorry.
So that's what
Sorry.
I'm telling you. See, whenever I say does not support, then only I'll talk about user exit. Because user exit is for what cannot be supported. That user exit will support. Whatever is not supported using this tool can be implemented using user exit. That's the concept of user exit. So user exit, there are many types of user exit. So if you create a user exit automatically, for example, this is a post, there will be post load user exit. So post load, there are many types of user exit. So depending upon the user exit, it will run at that specific point of time. For example, you have a post load user exit that will run after the load process is done. Similarly, you can create a pre-stage or post-stage user exit that will automatically run when the pre-stage is before the staging process starts. So here we have to implement one or two user exit, probably post landing or pre stage user exit, depending. This is, I just told you that this can be implemented. Doesn't mean that this can be implemented in 5 minutes or so. You have to do a lot of things because this what we are trying to do is not
Yeah.
supported. So when something is not supported, a lot of effort is needed for that.
Okay, so then if it's not hard, I understand. Let us take it
But
as an
no,
assignment.
no, but
But can you help can you help formulate the requirement? What needs to be done? I'm not very clear on that. Say record is coming, 11 records. So post our mapping runs, we have to put in a log table and reject this record. Is
yeah,
that what we
yeah,
need to do?
that should be a separate table. Should not be. I mean, see, no, the data of the flow. If it is warning, then it should go to the accepted, as well as for those records, it should be logged in a separate table that this is the warning message, and this is the reason and all that. So that should go to a separate table. The first challenge here itself
That
is,
table should be in the ORS only, no?
yeah, table should be in ORS but not managed by MDM.
Is that should be in ORS or it can be outside the ORS?
See, whatever tables, it can be outside of the ORS also. That's fine. It,
Yeah, it's a user exit, right? You can do whatever you
you
want
can
in a user exit.
you can do anything, but uh, better to keep it in the ORS. But you can do anything. You can keep it in any database because
I
that
mean, basically we are trying to create another DB link or ODBC connectivity at that point.
you can make it simple by creating the table in the same database as well. Okay, same ORS you can create it to make things simple, and use some PLC or some logic to copy those data and those validation logics into that particular new table that you create.
So Sunil, quick question, right? For say if I had to set up Eclipse, and do I need to import any project or any libraries for it to test a simple Java code, say per se from my end?
User exit cannot be tested in Eclipse. You can only compile them. Okay, user exit. You can, if you want to do any Java program, you can do it in Eclipse, especially like cleanse functions and all that. But user exits, specifically user exits, cannot be tested anywhere in the world except they can only be tested once they have been uploaded here. The reason is Informatica
They use
provides.
standard libraries.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the first thing. That's the standard library. That's not the main thing. You can also import the standard libraries in the Eclipse. That's not the big deal. The big deal here is you will see that there are many internal parameters that Informatica provides to the user exit during the runtime. For example, uh, let's say this is one user exit. So the parameters, for example, this parameter, all these parameters from here to here, Informatica provides these parameters during runtime. Okay, and if I directly run this code, you will see that these parameters are not provided. So you can also run it, but you have to write another Java code which provides parameter to your user exit. You have to simulate what is going on in this MDM hub. Then you might be able to do it, but that's anyway like
Right, makes sense. Makes sense.
complicating things. But the thing is, the only way to run user exit is it cannot be run in Eclipse. Okay, you cannot run it in Eclipse. You can only compile it. If you want to run it, you upload it into the server here. Okay, when you run the job, automatically this user exit will be kicked off.
Oh, you were able to compile it as a standalone one, right?
Yeah,
Is that it?
compile you can do because libraries I have added, right? The libraries are there.
Okay.
This
You
compilation,
added the libraries. Okay.
yeah, the libraries, yeah. If you do not like add the libraries, then it will throw syntax error and all that. See, the libraries are already added. These are built libraries.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Sunil. Thank you. I know it's a stretch in Unix. Whenever you're talking about user exits, it's a stretch. I know,
The
but
user
just learning
exit,
more about.
anyway, you do not need to concentrate much on user exit because user exit is something custom, and normally you should not use much user exit also. You will be in trouble if you use much user exit. The reason is,
You should.
see, you, let's say, for an organization point of view, let's say if you're the client, then let's say if you're the chief information officer of your company, then your responsibility is to make sure that you do not have very high level of dependency on software tools. Okay, for example, if you are purchasing Informatica MDM, let's say if you get any issue with Informatica MDM in future, okay, then what do people do? They'll migrate this to some other MDM tool. Let's say SAP MDM. I'm just giving an example. Okay, so if I do a lot of customizations here, okay, then how do I migrate it? This will take very lot of effort is needed to migrate this into this. Okay, but if the customization is very less, then the migration becomes very easy. Okay, so from that point of view also, the organizations should think of implementing user exit. Another example I'll just give you about user exit is before 9.5.1, this user exit feature was in form of Oracle packages, or you can say it was in PL SQL. Okay, but post 9, starting with sorry 9, not 9.5, 9.6.1, starting with 9.6.1, that is 9.7, and in version 10, the only way to implement is using Java. So for what happened to the people who have written PL SQL procedures, they must translate their code into Java code. And does Informatica do it automatically? No. You have to hire resources to translate this code into the Java code. So you understand, right? What's the pain? Because let's say if you have done a lot of coding in user exit, then you have to do a lot of work to translate this code into Java. So that means lot of effort. So normally, I'm not talking about MDM only. For any software system, you should try to minimize the customization. Try to use the features directly from the tool. And if it is not working, let's say if you still need it, then in worst case you should go for customizations.
Oh, you should see some clients, Sunil. They come with
Yeah, I know.
requirements. They want what they want. They want a flag to go red, the email to come,
Yeah, that's
website to
what. See,
launch,
the
whatnot.
problem.
We can't escape some things.
Yeah, but that person has to understand this strategy. Like when they migrate from one tool to one thing, then it becomes very difficult. See, this is a very common thing, you know, right? Like in software process, if let's say someone has implemented Oracle, you'll see that because of any reason, or it there might not be any reason, because of marketing strategy or something like that, people will always try to upgrade this to something else like Teradata, and later from Teradata to something cloud, some other cloud database. So this is a very common thing uh, in a organization, and the client, they really do not care, they want their things to be done. But anyway, that's our job. Is if they want something, then we should give them. That's our job.
Right. Thanks, Sunil. Thanks.
Okay.
And Sunil, could you do me a favor? Just where can I find these libraries? I want to give it a try because my client is really Java intensive. They
Library,
handle.
you can I mean this libraries, this I'll send this jar file to you. You can directly add
Yeah,
them.
and I would just need the document. Which document to go through and
Okay,
what
okay, fine, fine.
to set this up. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks, Sunil.
okay, guys, then. Okay, thank you very much.